Terry Tyler here, and I wanted to talk to you to lay of implications depending on who or what you are, and to and some warnings about the power of some of this stuff. A lot of people tend to hide in the sand and may deny it exists. It may not exist. It's one of the hardest things to believe, but the older I get, I feel like my brain has not fully developed yet. And I see a lot of young students. I remember when I was a child, I couldn't get anybody to do this stuff. And it's one of these. So, what we're talking about here is physics. We're talking about mass. We're talking about planetary bodies. We're talking about light. We're talking about vibrations. We're talking about this trigonometry junk here. It's if you look at some of these right here, you see that hypotenuse, that's a 30 degree, a 60 degree, and a 90 degree, square root of 3. You're looking at a circle over there. So this has applications for everything from shooting down ICBMs, tracking satellites, or playing baseball, you know, calculating where a ball is going to end up, artificial intelligence applications. So I was obliged into this. I don't like it. I really don't. It's something that I've loathed. Now, I'm a meteorology guy. I told you I've been doing weather over half my life. And I've been kept out of university. They don't like me in the university. I'm kind of a stained class guy. But um, meteorology revolves around high science. Anything you're going to do, you're going to need to learn the Greek alphabet. You know, your alpha, your beta, your gamma, your eta, your zeta, your iota, your re, uh, your phi, your psi, your theta, your kappa, your mu, your omicron. You understand what I'm getting at? Your sine, your cosine, your tangent. Uh, we're talking about, okay, that's simple mathematics, but we're talking about the fucking hardcore occult right now. Your very soul. A lot of people, they're like, well, some of these people are robots. They're in mind control. And they say they don't have a soul or they're living dead, or we talk about some of that. And I can't speak for anybody else. I don't even like talking about this stuff because it's kind of private to me and I'm just really novice. But I'm here because of a jam. I had a sin sign. Uh, I committed some bad deeds in my past. Um, have I raped anybody? I don't think I've raped anybody. Uh, they're certainly not beating down the doors to talk to me. Um, have I been sexually malevolent? Absolutely. But I'm an animal. I haven't been like overtly violent and insane. I have to a degree. And then this is where I had a bit. And we're talking about negative matter here. Like, say, for example, this really is like a holographic universe. And that some of these people may be robotic slaves. Some of these people may be, genetically modified organisms. There may be different pieces of country and stuff. But I think what you're going to get right down to, these things are made of atoms and subatomic particles, and like when you go really, really way down into them, like you can see plumb through them. And where it really gets spooky is like this metal here. All of these things are vibrating with electrons and particles that these things have properties like when you touch them together or you move them in a certain way. And then, we've been also studying a little bit of this, uh, even getting into construction. There's this guy, Tyler Lay. He's got a PhD. He's a cool guy. He teaches about concrete, synthetic concrete aggregates, um, Portland cement. What makes cement? Seashells and uh, fly ash and you know, I've been hustling intellectually. Could I PT more? Absolutely. And I think what we're going to do is I'm going to try to write y'all a book one day. If we can never get out of this, I think y'all will really like it. But if they don't steal it. Anyway, I'm talking about my personal experience. The sine, literally, the sine of 30 degrees is 1/2, 1/2. Now, I don't know if that makes any sense. It kind of resonates for me because the first half of my life was kind of bad. I mean, I was raised in a very violent, frightening, unstable environment, and I was really abused, severely abused by the government, the system. And I've been abused, and I'm like a slave to it, and I get real angry. But at the same time, they haven't killed me. So we kind of reached this area where I've come clean, total transparency, even with the spirits, the deities, and the interrogators and shit. But at the same time, I'm being bound by their laws. The laws they bind me to, some of these private companies, they're not adhering to. So they're not adhering to government law, if you really wanted to get down to it. These people are running a secret rig ring. They're doing things they're not admitting to. So there's a lot of this negativity, but at the same time, I committed negativity of all years, 2020. And what the rat has taught me is something terribly symbolic and terribly frightening. I used to be a snake handler. No shit. And I had to feed the snake. And I had to feed it ice. And this is where we add, we talk about these people, it's satanic church. God bless. I do the satanic Bible. Look at that. I'm trying to do some of the satanic stuff. It's dangerous right now. And it's not safe for me to talk some of the stuff. And number one, I'm not qualified all the way. Number two, it's dangerous right now. But in order for me, I've pretty much lost my soul. Like, these things are furious at me, and they come to me and horrendous nightmares. And I begged them to tell me what I did wrong, and it says animals and women. So pretty much, I'm still Lothario. Am I willing to give up sex with women, or maybe possibly men? I don't know. I'm in a changing spot of my life, but no rapes. I told them, look, or no underage if that's their jurisdiction. No sadistic cutting and mutilating and deceiving. They got to come to me on their own free will, or I got to pay for it. One of the two, and that's where it's leading to an ethical thing. I hope to improve on that. Like, if you look at that 1-2, the triangle is actually a lot larger on the other side. It's 3 square root of 3. So even though it's been 30 years and I've done a lot of bad things, over the next course, it's going to be a lot more powerful through hopefully the next 29 years. I have to guide myself, and I encourage you to guide yourself and fly through the plains, navigate through the plains. And I tell you what, they've got it on you. I don't like talking. I probably don't even know if I'm worthy or even qualified to speak of a rabbi. But there's a rabbi, and he talks about a holographic universe, and the way he describes it and he shows it, like the sins and the things, you're just trapped in time, but there's no time. So if you do this, it's in there. And I guess if I can quote him without saying his name for protection, is what you cook in this world, you eat in the next world. And there's a lot of religions that are really hardcore about not eating certain animals or doing certain things. And I think that a person, where their mind is, has a lot to do with it. A lot of them are kind of kept in the dark. It's not always their fault, but once they get there, they damn sure better unfuck themselves, because it ain't going away. So this is the opportunity. I've got to pay people back. So we're riding this linear line. And by the way, if you look at the world and you look at the circle, pi, 3.14, and how everything rotates, I'm really starting to think we're in a simulation. But it's not a simulation. It's like this forever. Even when you die. So like I said, I'm a real novice on it. I guess I'm really getting out of here. Um, the negative stuff, like hurting the animals. I said, I don't even like hurting bugs. I don't like hurting anything. Snakes, spiders, birds, dude, I just let it ride. But see, that's not enough. Not at this degree. Like it used to be enough, but now I'm eating a lot of meat. And they had a euthanization of like 320,000 pigs because of this virus. They couldn't process the pigs. Usually, like two pigs come in and then they do away with them, and then two more pigs come in, they do away with them. Well, something happened. They couldn't do anything with the pigs. They couldn't keep them there because they couldn't feed the motherfuckers. There was enough feed for the hogs. And then there was no market. Nobody was buying the hogs. So they had to put them to kill 320 million of them. So I look at it like this. I can't speak for the butcher because I'm not in the butcher's shoes. I can't condemn the butcher. And I'm not, like I said, I don't want people to condemn themselves and try not to take this the wrong way. This is my personal quest. I have to adhere to this for the sake of the people and the animals and this peaceful, silly, hippie bullshit. But I'm constantly getting drawn into this negative stuff. Like some of the things that I'm wanting to do good, it's looking like I'm having to do bad. I'm forcing and if I stay still, they attack. So we're not gonna go into these things. These are really interesting, but they can clone you with AI, so be careful. Some say we're already all uplinked to AI. I don't know if that's true. But that what they add, it's pretty simple. Love is important. But we say, okay, we're not going to hurt women. We're not going to hurt animals, but we can't be eating that meat. So he said, well, what about fish? And this is where insanity kind of kicks into play because when you really start going down, I mean, you have skin cells dying and all in your body. And this is where it starts going down to COVID-19 and you go in and when you really start looking around, and I encourage you to, I put the steady foo on there. I don't really want to run no more boost tube for a while. Uh, I think that it's about the worst drug there is. And, you know, sometimes I want you to be prepared for this. Because if you're not, you might die. When you really start studying like I have, and you really start looking into these maths and learning more and just kind of seeing some really, really dark shit, and then you start drinking alcohol on top of it, you know, sometimes you think about killing yourself and weeping and crying and tripping, you know, especially if you're doing drugs and having nightmares. And some people can't handle it, they'll wig out. But I think it's necessary. I've reached that turning point to be doing this stuff and living up to it. Otherwise, not just am I probably going to get wasted, the penalties are probably going to be far more severe on the other side, far more severe. So, with this said, I'm fixing to get off of here. I want you to look into Newton's law and Galileo and some of that basic physics, objects at rest, and just tread real lightly. Have discipline in how you speak and what you say. Take it easy.